We start with a close-range fight inside a car. Riley, our protagonist, is giving her gang member a massive beating. Then when a winner is declared, he pulls out a weapon, puts it to his throat, and executes. The next day, Riley is tending to her wounds inside a van in an area full of homeless people in the city. In front of her is a box of mint cookies that, when looked at, transport us 5 years into the past to the moment when she and her daughter Carly are leaving the supermarket. In the parking lot, Peg, the mother of one of Charlie's classmates, is waiting for her, constantly bothering her about the parking spot she chose. Although there are dozens of available spots, Peg is one of those people who enjoys bothering others when they are busiest. Riley handles the situation as best as she can and manages to take Carly to her father, Chris, before heading to her job, where she runs into her boss at the door and he scolds her for being late. In Chris's workshop, Mickey, his colleague, keeps talking to him about a job that will change his life forever. The only thing he has to do is drive the getaway car, and he can give his family a better life. Carly could be in ballet or piano classes, not sitting at a desk full of grease all day. Chris tells him he'll think about it, but that night he has his daughter's birthday party. When night falls, Riley returns home excited for the party, but it turns out there's no one in the house. None of her daughter's friends came to celebrate with her, all because Peg invited them all to a party at her house to cheer up her daughter. Riley tells everyone that they will go to the carnival, it will be a family birthday and they will have a lot of fun. As soon as they leave the house, a gang member who is watching outside calls his boss to tell him that the subject is on the move. It turns out that Mickey has already been caught by the cartel and they saw Chris's contact on his phone, so they think he's his partner. Garcia, the cartel leader, orders Chris be watched until he arrives, ignoring Mickey's words, who says he has nothing to do with this. To silence Mickey, Garcia takes his machete and makes a single quick, clean move as Mickey's head rolls on the ground. We pass something that also spins, the Ferris wheel, where Chris and his family are having a pleasant time together. From the top, you can see the whole city, but you can't see the gang members surrounding the area, waiting for them to come down once the family gets ready to go to the car. Riley returns 4 napkins for the ice creams when gunfire takes his family. On the ground lie the bodies of Carly and Chris, who could do nothing to protect his daughter. There were too many bullets in too little time. Riley is also injured and is taken to the emergency room, while we stay at the scene to meet Detective Michael, who is very curious about what happened, but his boss, Captain Moises, tells him to focus on better cases. This one doesn't seem very important. 3 days later, Riley was finally able to wake up from her surgery. The first thing she did was ask about her family, and Michael appeared to offer his condolences. The evidence they have gathered shows that her husband refused to be Mickey's driver for a job for a drug dealer named Garcia. However, this is not enough evidence to obtain an arrest warrant, but it is clear that Garcia ordered the death of his family. Although Michael would like to arrest Garcia himself, that's not how the law works. Without clear evidence, he is tied up and, as usual, the law ends up being completely useless, both in real life and in movies. Riley, whose head was grazed by a bullet, gets tired of hearing Michael's excuses for why he can't do something and asks him to leave. At home, he receives an eviction notice, so he will have to leave his house, which will be repossessed by the bank, and he is given 2 hours to collect his things. While doing so, her lawyer appears and hands her an envelope with $50,000. This is an offer to drop the charges against the men she identified a few weeks ago. It's clear that the cartel is up to its tricks, but Riley is not willing to back down, so she proceeds with the trial. Once it begins, it's clear that Riley doesn't stand a chance. Both the lawyers and the judge have been bribed by the cartel, and the case is dismissed due to lack of evidence. Upon hearing the verdict, Riley loses her temper and attacks the defendants, but the guard restrains her, and the judge sentences her to 30 days in prison for contempt and assault. While she was being treated in an ambulance before being taken to jail, she attacks the officer and escapes running. Now that we know what happened and the order of events, we return to the present, where Michael finds the bodies of the 3 shooters hanging from the Ferris wheel at the carnival. At first, he doesn't understand the connection between the deaths, but he will soon. At the FBI offices, Agent Lisa has shown interest in the recent deaths related to the cartel. Meanwhile, Riley is preparing for her next attack. This time she visits the judge from 5 years ago, ties him to a chair, and tortures him with pleasure. Back with Lisa, she has pulled Riley's file and discovered that 6 months after her family's death, she stole a large sum of money from the bank where she worked. Then she fled the country, and there are videos of her fighting in the underground circles of Bangkok, so they assume she learned martial arts and more. Less than a month ago, she returned to the country, and they have a recording of her stealing many weapons and ammunition from a store. Lisa is convinced that Riley is the one who killed Garcia's 3 men. They were the ones who killed her family, and this is just the beginning. At the judge's house, Riley nailed his hands to the table. Now he won't be able to use his hands to impart his false justice to anyone else. Then, she leaves, and once safe on the train, she calls to detonate a bomb in the judge's house, sending him and his courtroom to hell. Michael arrives at the meeting and tells Lisa about the judge's death. This confirms their hypothesis, and they all set out to catch her. At Garcia's headquarters, Cortez, his right-hand man, informs him about the death of his men and the judge on his payroll. While the train travels, Riley meets a boy who looks like Carly. The boy is with his father, who is drunk and asleep. He says his father drinks daily and hits him. Immediately, Riley follows him to a store where he sees the boy's father buying a bottle of whiskey. Without a word, he knocks him down and puts a gun in his mouth. Then he takes his ID and memorizes every detail, telling him that today he will be reborn. From this day on, he will be a better father and husband, quit alcohol, and get a job, or she will come back and put a bullet through his skull. The guy is so scared that he promises to do everything she tells him. Then, Riley turns his attention to the store owner and tells him that the threat applies to him as well. If he sells another bottle, he will burn his store to the ground. Having done her good deed for the day, Riley continues her mission, this time following Marvin, one of Garcia's men, to a local market, disguised as homeless. He approaches the back door, but 2 thugs block his way, something they should never have done. Inside, more men are hiding. It's clear that it's a money laundering center for the cartel. After returning with more appropriate weapons, Riley begins to clear the place room by room. Using a tactical shotgun, he eliminates gang members with rear strategies. After all, when have you seen someone smell your foot before your head? In the end, only Marvin remains, who survives the situation, but with a clear message for Garcia. Riley burned all the money, as well as the entire place. Additionally, he told Marvin he wouldn't stop until he destroyed everything, forcing our villain to put a bounty on his head. That night, Riley arrives at the Garcia warehouse. Using a rifle, she enters ready to take out the bad guys. But the building is empty. On the ground, she sees a tripwire, revealing the place is rigged. This is an ambush by Garcia, and his men are outside with a detonator. Riley tries to escape, but the place turns into a huge fireball and the explosion is seen from afar. While the bad guys think they killed Riley, she emerges from a sewer, having managed to hide in time, and follows the house far from there. Lisa has reached the neighborhood where Riley is hiding and asks a guy if he's seen her. He tells her no one has seen her, but everyone believes she exists. She's the neighborhood angel, and he points to graffiti on the wall. After following the gang to Garcia's mansion, Riley makes her move and kills them. Then she enters using the car. Once inside the enormous mansion, let the car move slowly and draw attention, while eliminating the bad guy illuminated by the headlight. When it's close enough to the house, he throws a brick on the accelerator and lets the car crash into the house. At this moment, the shooting begins. However, Riley has the advantage by taking advantage of the darkness and takes out the gang members like flies. After a while, the gang members believe they're fighting a ghost, and in the end, only she and Garcia remain. While Riley points at his heart, he tries to bribe her, but she wants justice for her family. At that moment, the villain's daughter appears, distracting Riley, who has a rather untimely flashback of her family. When she comes to, Garcia has stabbed her several times and escapes with his daughter. Britas arrive with reinforcements, but Garcia prefers to be taken to safety first and then return to finish off Riley, who, as we expected, has managed to escape. He's at Peg's house, and after delivering a well-deserved punch to the face, he goes in to tend to his wounds. In the warehouse where the explosion occurred, Moises is informed that Lisa's people have been snooping around the drug division's files. This is not good for anyone, and Barker, The narcotics detective asks him what he should do. Meanwhile, Michael is with Lisa. He has found the Riley gang full of weapons and they are heading to the next clue. But before they can set off, Michael draws his weapon and executes her. From the beginning, Michael has been the corrupt cop. He's the one who has been passing Riley's information to Garcia, as well as protecting him using his influence. Michael sends the location to Havana Garcia, who shows up with all her men and surrounds the entire neighborhood, starting to search warehouse after warehouse until they reach where she is hiding. Shortly after, one of his men comes across a trail of blood. However, Riley manages to get up in time and gets rid of it. Now she has a dozen more to defeat. But first, she must patch her wound or she won't reach the end of the battle. Using a concussion grenade, she takes out Cortez and his men. Then she grabs the radio and contacts all of Garcia's men. The deal is simple. If they hand over their boss, they can leave alive. Garcia laughs and promises to kill her slowly. Then, Riley finds Lisa's corpse and takes her phone. While Garcia threatens to kill the homeless until Riley shows up, she isn't recording herself and broadcasts everything on social media. In the video, you can see Michael supporting the narcos, and Riley asks the honest police officers to help her and come to arrest Garcia. Before Garcia kills a young woman, Riley surrenders and turns herself in. Michael tells him to kill her quickly and get out of there. But Garcia wants to have some fun. He starts by hitting Riley hard, then plans to cut her with his knife. But then the police show up. Riley's video has worked and Moises comes with his people to stop them. Believing that Michael has betrayed him, Garcia kills him and then flees. But Riley pursues him and they have their final fight. While a news helicopter broadcasts everything, we see Riley pointing a gun at Garcia's head. Moises tells her to surrender and let him arrest her. But she knows the government's justice is garbage, so she executes him. Although an officer wounds her shoulder, she escapes. The next morning, Moises finds her at her family's grave. She begs him to just let her die, but he tells her he can't. A few weeks later, Riley is recovering in the hospital when Moises shows up and congratulates her for taking down a major drug lord. The city needs a bit of the justice she dispenses, and he might need someone for these jobs. Before leaving, Moises leaves a handcuff key in her hand and tells her that he will be waiting for her message when she is ready. And that's how this great movie ends. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and thanks.